Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Yeah, thank you for coming. My name is James Victor Shoemate. Um, I am part of the Teaching and Learning Center at Clover Park Technical College. I'm a curriculum and instructional specialist. Uh, Basically, I am an instructional designer, and I'm really glad to have everybody here today. This session is called the Faculty AI Toolkit. Open microlearning resources for teaching excellence. And today, I'm joined by Dr. Laura McNeill, who is a clinical assistant professor and instructional technology consultant at the University of Alabama's Teaching Academy. I'm also joined by Lee Laska, who is the assistant director and team lead of the media instructional media group at the University of Alabama. So I was actually fortunate enough to see Laura and Lee's team present at the Teaching and Learning Conference with AI this year. And so I was really kind of inspired by the work that they did. And we asked them to present, and we're lucky to have them today. So I would like to welcome both of you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we're excited to be here. So yes, we're both from the University of Alabama, and we're both really passionate about AI and what it can do for our learning communities. We're both part of the Teaching Academy, which is a center for teaching and learning at the University of Alabama. And that started in August of 2023. And so AI has been on our radar ever since we got started. So today we'll be walking through what we've done around AI, what we're working on, maybe a little bit about what's on the horizon. And let me see if I can advance this slide. And so, yes, as James mentioned, both of our jobs, I'm an instructional consultant with the Teaching Academy, which means about 80% of my workload is at the Teaching Academy, helping other instructors teach better and also talking about AI and how it can be used in the classroom. I also research AI in higher education and have a grant to explore AI in the workforce, in which we are talking to industry all over the country about what their needs are for undergrads entering the workforce. So what are those skills? And it's been so exciting to talk to them. And then I'll hand it over to Lee.
Hi, I'm the assistant director in ITAS. There's three of us, and we're responsible, one for the IDs, one for tech support, and I run our online production studios. We have 5 studios, varying from for vocal cloning, for self-records, anchor desk, and then a green site for VR sets. We do approximately about 2,500 videos a year. About 2,300 of those are for our online course offerings. And then we do some marketing and other external things for grants, or like you'll see shortly, for the faculty resources for the Teaching Academy. So we've started to integrate AI into a lot of our production because, as I like to say, we have the fun part. We get to use AI as a tool, as well as we have to be respectful of all the other aspects that everyone else is very concerned about, but we get to engage it, use it, and leverage it for our best, practical outcomes. And we've had a lot of great success, especially in the world of vocal cloning.
And as I mentioned, I teach actually a couple of courses, AI and instructional design. I'm teaching AI 101 this fall for our incoming freshmen. And Lee, what is the class that you teach? I can't remember the name.
I do a lot of film history and film production and photography for the University of Maryland Global Campus.
Right. And you and Jason also taught another.
Yeah, we've done some for adult learners at it's called Ollie. It's for basically senior citizens. That we've done 2 sessions now, consisting of 2 classes, and honestly, we get a lot of great questions from people that are really engaged in it and very interested in it. And it's been a very thought-provoking and very delightful experience.
Thanks. Okay. So, developing AI resources for faculty, it is a huge job. It requires so much careful planning and strategic thinking about what our faculty need. And our campus is so large and it's so diverse, so many different majors. And so we've thought a lot about what we should offer, what the needs are, where our faculty are in the AI spectrum, anywhere from I'm never using it to I'm an early adopter. And so that varies widely, of course. And then the goal is to have these resources that are relevant, timely, practical, and targeted, and genuinely useful. So where do we start? And that is, the big thing. We really got our AI initiative off the ground in mid 2024, and we did some benchmarking and definitely learning from others. As James mentioned, we both attended the Teaching and Learning with AI conference in Orlando. Highly recommend. It's a lot of fun and you meet cool people. And we did some benchmarking with 8 other institutions who are making some AI strides and looked at what they've been doing so that we could decide what do we need for our university and our faculty. And we gained so many valuable insights into these best practices and gaps, and we were able to get our heads around where we needed to start. And I'm sure a lot of your faculty look like this, or your teachers, your instructors. There's just such a sheer volume of AI tools and resources, and it can be so overwhelming. There's just a flood of courses, YouTube videos, workshops, conferences, and faculty, frankly, the most of them are overwhelmed, and some are dissuaded, some have concerns, and just don't know where to start. And so we decided we really needed to streamline and curate the most important resources and do that in a way that honored our faculty's very limited time. And so, so as I mentioned, and Lee developed these awesome resources, but faculty are so busy. And what we decided they needed were these, flexible, bite-sized resources, um, and designing resources that were not only time sensitive, but they engaged people. They could participate 24/7 when they needed to. So a lot of just-in-time resources. And so the AI Teaching Network is our initiative at the University of Alabama. It started with a lot of peer support throughout our network, the other instructional consultants, Lee's team, and we wanted to have a lot of collaboration and sharing expertise and experience. And so what we did is we put together a library of microlearning resources, 2 to 3 minutes for faculty, and we have a large library now. But what we did is we modeled it again after the KP Cross Academy, which if you have never visited it, it has so many resources for teaching, so many ideas, and they're very short, bite-sized. These are just a couple of the resources, videos, downloadable resources that can be used in online or face-to-face. They're very actionable. You learn about them and you can implement them that day. So very practical techniques for immediate use. And so what we did is we had some brainstorming sessions with faculty experts in AI. I guess we're never really experts because the field is always changing, but we came up with, I think, over 100 topics that we could hit, and then started to narrow down, and faculty identified maybe their areas of interest. Like I love prompt engineering, I love rubrics, and I'm an instructional designer by trade. I have been since 2015. So of course my focus is on curating resources using AI, which is so fabulous. And so we, with Lee's help, and he'll talk about that in just a moment, we were able to create some really amazing videos for our faculty. And so again, practical guidelines. We tried to be tool agnostic. So we didn't want to focus or evangelize, you must use Claude or you must use Perplexity. We had to stay, we have to stay as a university within the university guidelines, but we just wanted to keep it to basic skills that could be implemented. And of course, thinking about responsible use, privacy, ethics, and then practical classroom examples. So we would talk about a topic and then, using this is what you could do in your history classroom or your political science classroom. So we kept it, again, very practical. We came up with 8 learning tracks so that we could group all of our videos under these so it would be easily searchable on the homepage of this sub website. And so you can see assessment, student AI use, foundations, course materials. So we really tried to cover the gamut for what people might want to learn more about. And this is an example learning track. And this is our students and AI track. And so these are 6 of the videos that we created. How should students cite AI? How do we teach students about ethics and AI and why they should care? We need to teach students how to write effective prompts. If we don't, they're not going to get the output that they're looking for. And teaching students to verify information, that is so critical. We have so many students who use AI and just say, oh, I'm going to use this output that just, the first thing that I see, which we all know that's not great practice. We need to critically evaluate our sources, verify fact from fiction, look at accuracy and reliability, and then of course privacy concerns and plagiarism concerns as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Lee at this point, and believe me, he is a wizard at everything he does, and I pay homage to him because he's so fantastic to work with and so much fun, but just does a fabulous job making us look really great.
Thank you. Obviously, you're asking for a favor later on. You've got control of the deck, so if you'll advance, please. Okay, so within OTI, that is the University of Alabama division that takes care of all our online students. We have about 6,500 online, dedicated only online students for University of Alabama. We also service about 12,000 of the high school students through a program called Access. To facilitate all that, we have a number of production studios housed on the first floor of University Hall. Over in this here to the top, that's our large studio where we've got a 3-person anchor desk, an informal area, as well as where we really are expanding our efforts are into our green site with virtual reality sets, and even have been generating some sets via AI. Over here is what I call the Cube. That is our vocal clone lab, and that has helped us out immensely with faculty. They sign an agreement. Once we capture their voice profile, we have a script that hits most of the phonetics, and then they add in any terms they need, so that when they have recorded all their stuff, if we find out that their textbook has changed, if there's been a change in any type of regulations they're talking about, we're able to do a quick update by having their vocal clone on hand. So what we have done now for the Teaching Academy is a series of these videos using a lot of the principles from like Mayer's 12 principles and dual coding, going for really segmented bite size. We want to really try to keep these videos down to under 5 minutes, because just like our students, you want to be able to get to the point very quickly if you're looking at this, to understand and hopefully stimulate you to want to explore a little bit further. Next slide, please. So we take all these concepts, we look into them. Again, we have a number of experts from around the campus. We are on pace to have over 100 videos some point. First of all, our UA Online obligations come first, but there will be more videos coming up shortly. We have some already recorded and more to be recorded. So we provide a lot of real real classroom situations. A lot of this is geared towards the online. How do you communicate with them? Try to keep that presence going. So they can be translated to in-person as well and to asynchronous. So we want to make sure that we cover those type of things that just, and again, make it evergreen. We don't want to be talking about Chat GPT 3.0 in our videos, or we were doing a partnership with Crossing Points. It's an institution that services adults of young age, about 18 to 21, with intellectual disabilities. And we were training them on a program called Alpaca, and it was great. And we promoted it, and then Alpaca went out of business. So we try to keep things just more very holistic and overview, and allow for the teachers, when they go into these videos, that they can pick what track they wanted, as I posted in the chat, or they can go through them all, because they really are not that long to watch and view. Okay. A lot of us go back and forth on the whole about creating a script with AI. Can you tell, is it AI? Can you not? As an example, I got my master's back in 2008. I took one of my papers from back then, I entered it into Grammarly and just asked it to give a more academic tone. When I did that, and then I ran it through the AI detection software, it said it was 81% generated by AI. AI did not generate the script, that paper. I did, a number of years ago. So I think there's a lot here that can be used for ideation, for idea generation, and all that type of thing, where you don't have it doing it for you, because you're giving it all the talking points, and you go through and you refine it to where you want. For the most part, with these scripts, Dr. Claire Major, who runs the Teaching Academy, she pretty much is overall how she wants these scripts to be done. Faculty will turn in what they want, to present, and it goes on to basically her template of how she wants things done. So, can you use AI to help you with the scripts? Of course you can, but just make sure it's more of your voice in there than anything else. Okay, I think this is over to you, Laura, and you're muted.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm not sure where. But here is a way for you to generate your own script. So say you are creating uh, your own microlearning videos, or a video for one of the classes that you teach, and you wanted to record something. So you can choose your tool, your topic, and scan this QR code for a sample prompt, and then review that output. So we found that this was really interesting for some of the faculty who don't use AI, and you can use anything that you're comfortable with. Gemini has a really nice interface. ChatGPT is usually accessible. It's probably the most popular tool.
Laura, I'm going to interrupt you for a
Yeah,
moment. It does
yeah,
appear the code is expired, and I'm
code
also
is expired.
yeah,
Okay.
and I'm also going through another thing too, showing that a lot of our functionality on campus right now is down through
Oh,
Microsoft. They may
okay.
be doing an upgrade or an update before
Okay, so
students
James,
come
what
back.
we'll do is we'll generate a new code, and then we'll send it along to you so that folks can practice if they want to. But basically,
Sounds
we
good.
would, choose a topic, we would introduce it, and then go through the steps to prompt the AI tool, whichever one you're using, and then give an example, like I mentioned. So if you're teaching an anthropology class and you want to talk about ethics, then these are the things that you need included in your script. And it's really quite, once you get that template down, the way that it seems to flow and work within that 2 to 3 minute time frame, then you can model the rest of your scripts after that. And I think it's, once we had done about 5 of them, we've really found our sweet spot, and we're able to just build on that, because we probably had, what, Lee, how many faculty and other folks have been our talent for this project? At least
Yeah,
10?
yes, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, a
yeah,
lot of numbers I have written scripts, and they're not up yet, but yes, we're
right. Okay. All right. And so our next steps are to grow the library. We are keeping up with the different trends, the different issues that have arisen. And so we'll continue to curate that library. And because we don't have it fully where we want it to be, our intent is to increase those users, advertise it more, on campus. And then when we say don't forget the students, we want to make sure that this is really student focused. And from my perspective in doing the work I am with industry, what our job is, I think, as a teacher in K through 12, as a teacher at a technical college, community college, university, we are preparing our students for an AI driven workforce. And what we're seeing is these job postings are saying, you need to have AI experience. And from what industry is saying, it's not necessarily we want you to have experience with Claude and then you'll get this job. They want you to be able to make decision making, make good decisions. They want you to be able to prompt. They want you to be able to verify that information, iterate if the output is not quite what you want, and then verify that information and decide how to use it. So those are the things that require critical thinking, quite frankly, because I know there's a lot of talk that AI is destroying critical thinking, but it really is flipping Bloom's taxonomy kind of upside down. And where we're doing the critical thinking is in that output and synthesizing our knowledge as subject matter experts. We're all, many of us are instructors or administrators, and so we have to bring that into the mix and say, oh, that output just doesn't sound right. And it's not the tone that I want. And so we really need to have that human oversight over our scripts, over what we do in the classroom, what we use AI for our personal tasks or professional tasks. But that is just such an important part of the mix. And so, Lee, I'm assuming that this is probably not working either. Um,
The link is in the chat now, up at
the
the
link
top.
is in the chat. Perfect. And so the great thing about the Teaching Academy network and all of the resources, the KP Cross Academy, those are free for you to peruse. Please use them, and we'll be adding more to them, to these libraries, to the Cross Academy. So, and if you'd like to get in touch and talk more about the AI Teaching Network or the Teaching Academy in general, we're happy to, or media services, and that's all Lee. So, um, yeah, we're happy to talk to anybody, and yeah, willing to take questions at this point.
Yeah, thank you very much. Do you mind if I ask a question?
Yeah, shoot.
This is an amazing resource, and I've actually used it myself. I heard about this at the conference that we met at, and I was wondering, do you have any kind of metrics for the kind of usage the AI teaching network has been getting throughout the year? How many people have been using it?
Gosh, and that's a Tyler question. So when we met up at the conference, we had more colleagues with us, and Tyler is our numbers cruncher and my supervisor there. And so I would love to say how many we have, but I honestly don't have the numbers. I think we've seen a steady increase, and I think the feedback that we've gotten from faculty, being that it's bite-sized and available 24/7, has been really positive. Um, and of course, we're hoping to grow that, but I should be prepared next time, James, to talk about that.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, I'm trying to say these are hosted on YouTube. So a lot of stuff that we do is on media site when it's for example, we have a good heat map and analytics for that, as well as sometimes on Vimeo. YouTube, since I don't have the admin rights for that, no, I cannot see the analytics on that, unfortunately.
Are there any questions for the audience, or any questions, you can put them in the chat, or yeah, feel free to turn off mute and ask a question.
And what I would ask the audience is there topics that you would like to see covered? What would help you? When we were in Orlando, a number of teachers and instructors reached out and just said, hey, we want to see more about this. Especially a lot of it was on the ethics of it, but the other ones were like on data collection and, even having AI do grading. Is there other topics that people, would like to see covered or have an interest in? Approach the arts. All right, so how instructors approach the arts. Uh, Now, we've had some people use that towards a lot of it in the arts in the sense of actual artwork, creating, having students create art and then in the style of Dali or Da Vinci or Durer. A lot of, we've seen how that has worked well. And actually, the latest Chat GPT has done really well with that. It has gotten much better in its image generation. So we've seen a lot of work with that. We stay away from things like Midjourney and Leonardo AI because that's all public. Anything on Midjourney gets pushed out onto Discord. So the university has kind of clamped down on what applications can be used for a lot of that. AI is a tutor for teaching. We're currently in development of having custom LLMs designed for every single course so that there will be a 24/7 AI populated LLM and GPT interface for all of the students. Now, do you want to customize that so that if they are in a nursing class, they are having a conversation with Florence Nightingale? We have looked at those type of things. I know that Morehouse College has a similar concept, and they have they almost look like Minecraft or Roblox avatars that handle all that. I'm currently a PhD student. So when I get into a class, I take all the PDFs, I bring them all down, and I make my own LLM and create my own GPT. So I'm going off of purely vetted resources. I make sure that there's no access to any web or internet, influence at all. It is purely the vetted information that I have received. We had a lot of success. And if you look on our page, the link up there about ATOT, sorry, maybe that link has not been posted yet, but I will post that. And we did with a economics professor a debate between Richard Nixon and Ben Franklin using 11 Labs vocal cloning. It was a podcast as they debated going off the gold standard. And all this information was taken from the writings and documentation from the National Archives. We made sure that it was a vetted LLM. And if you would ask it a question, and it would say, I don't have that information. So it's very transparent. That's not going to make up something that if you ask Ben Franklin who won the World Series in 1965, it's going to say, I do not have that information in my database. So we have found that it is a very interesting, good retention practice for the LLM, but also as an engaging piece of media. The original PowerPoint that the professor would narrate was about 8 minutes long, and the engagement from our heat map showed that the average view was about 3 to 4 minutes. When we replaced it with the AI generated podcast, then it almost went to the full running time and would come in at just under 7 minutes.
And I'd also encourage folks, if they wanted to, that ChatGPT has just come out with a study mode, and I'm still investigating it because it's very, very new. But the idea is, and you would get to it on the homepage of the interface and in the drop down menu where you could choose different options. If you go one drop down menu and then more, you'll see study. And so what that does is it will not give you the answers right away. It will prompt, it will ask questions. And so, whereas if you're asking Siri or Alexa, it will definitely just give you the answer, or ChatGPT, the regular one. But study mode is something that could be a really interesting resource. James and Lee and I were just talking about it before we got started. But I think we're going to be seeing more educational resources like this. And my advice is to try it out first and make sure that it works for what you are teaching about before you recommend that to your students. And I think um, just like everything else, you have to go through um, the privacy controls on whichever tools you're using and making sure that it's as secure as possible for your students.
Jody posted about campus's policy on AI use. Um, it's evolving. I would say right now it is a traffic light. Red, don't use it. Yellow, proceed with caution. Green, go with GPT. It's up to the instructor. The campus is still going through exactly what their policies are going to be. The only thing that's really clamped down is on what applications are allowed using your .edu account. We are an Adobe campus, so we do have like Firefly, which for image generation, and if you're familiar with their protocols, if you said, I generate an image of John Wayne on the bridge of the Enterprise, it won't do it because it will not use anything that is estate, copywritten, anything along those lines. That also protects you that if you create something, it actually embeds in that metadata that you are the creator of this original content. So they're still evolving on what they're going to do with a lot of that. So we were very careful. A number of us did a presentation for a school district on Monday, and they're even blocked from using YouTube on campus. So it was very limited on what some aspects of tools people are even allowed to use. And we try to steer away from, I have the $20 a month version of ChatGPT. Most people that we talk to do not. So we try to make sure that we make it as inclusive enough as possible and that we are not pushing any of these, entities like School Bus AI, which is out there now with more than 70 different applications inside of its web frame for students, or for educators to use through K through 12.
Yeah. And I'll just chime in and say that not all uh, LLMs are created equally. There are tools that are better at better tasks. For example, Perplexity is very academic research based, and it's great for pulling recent articles and synthesizing those. It's great for doing a literature review. It's for things like that, Claude is great with doing more complex tasks, writing tasks, reviewing large documents, synthesizing a bunch of documents together. I have created several course outlines, course rubrics, that because it's instructional design and James knows this, you have to be very precise. It's very detailed and you have to get things right. But you still have to verify everything. ChatGPT just on its own is great for more brief answers, straight to the point. Gemini, I think, gives you a lot more detail and it's very conversational. I use the app and talk to it in the car sometimes. Like I have to do this presentation and I need an outline and this is what I'd like to talk about. And so when I get home, I have an outline that I can at least start from. So great for that ideation. But what I have my students do, and I'm meant to make this point, is in the generative AI and instructional design course, they had to complete each assignment using two different AI tools. So maybe the first one on writing objectives, they use Gemini and ChatGPT. The next one on creating an outline would be Perplexity and Claude. So they would really find by the end of the semesters the tools that really worked for them. And a lot of times they would take the information from both outputs and iterations and combine it. So they definitely found out which ones did not work well for certain assignments and which ones did much better. And we also, this was super fun. We ran through, I bet, 40 different AI detectors, just like Lee was talking about. And it's just all over the place. And I think what we need to remember is that these AI detection companies are businesses and they are trying to sell you a product and they have to show that they're finding something or their company is not going to be viable. And so I think that's just a really important point to keep in mind. And a lot of universities have stepped away from AI detection And I do think that it can be harmful to police our students because then your trust is broken, that relationship, um, you can't really repair that over a semester. And so finding ways to use AI that's productive and looking toward that workforce. What are they doing in the workforce? What kind of projects could you create that would simulate things like that? Just some things to think about.
Johnny has a question about in the photography. It's difficult because I teach photography as well, and students are really going to have a passion about wanting to actually use the medium. I mean, I grew up, I was a darkroom photographer for years, developing my own negatives and that. It took me, I didn't go to a DSLR until 2012. Now trying to get students to even go into a manual setting on a DSLR when they can just go into Photoshop or Lightroom after they've generated an image from any number of GPTs out there and be able to manipulate that. I think one thing that is good about things like Lightroom and Photoshop, and they do have their AI tools now, is being able to teach different lenses, what the different effects are with depth of field. I've had some success in being able to do that. Um, Unfortunately, not all of my students have robust systems. Even though a lot of this is generated in the cloud, it just still takes a lot of power, or it interrupts their connection because there just isn't enough. They're just not that powerful. A lot of my students are military or deployed around the globe. So it is an interesting thing of what you can do. And as we see AIs coming over, I'm going to post a link here that was a little concerning when it happened and still is. Sotheby's actually hosted an auction for AI generated artwork. Maybe 10 years from now, that's not that big of a deal. It just seems very odd to me that that's where we're going, unless you're so creative with your prompts. I am at a loss to try to figure out, what is that really artistic? Are you really being creative? And if you were to run that same prompt again, are you just getting variations of a theme? Because we know it's not going to look the same. So there's a lot of it that is up there literally in the cloud that is being the creative process and really the artistic author. A little, I'm going to post it again. That's a direct link to a page that we have. That's our AI within OTide. It shows some of the different presentations that we've done, as well as about 2/3 of the way down, there's a couple of videos. One of them highlights the different things that we've done with AI in media production. And there's also a podcast that we've just started. This is dealing with our vocal cloning. And then just a little fun thing that I created, just created the images using AI, but then I edited it together, just kind of an illuminated manuscript on things. And then down below that are the different ones that are kind of we call it our kind of our AI road team, that on different things that you can just click on our dossier there, and you can email us if you have any questions related to our specific, level of what we, expertise, even though we don't call ourselves experts. This is evolving way too fast. Every time we do something like this, we always, hear something from someone else that we didn't know. So it has been just a very good and engaging process for us over this really last 18 months, interacting and learning from everyone.
And I think the best thing that Lee and I do is going out and speaking to faculty who are really on the fence or really not convinced that AI can help them at all, is to really demo some of these things. Demo creating a rubric, demo creating an outline. We have a conference on campus, and I said, okay, well, we're going to create course resources during this workshop. And someone gave me the topic of feminism and knitting. And so I said, okay, we're just going to roll with it. We're going to create objectives. We're going to create an outline for this course. We're going to pull in some relevant textbooks or articles that people can read. And honestly, that professor was pretty blown away because that is a niche topic. It's not what anyone would teach every day, but we created an assessment, a rubric for that assessment, and it was just a lot of fun. And I think that's where you can show people that there is value in this and it really can offload some of those tasks that take so long and get you back to more creative thinking, more cognitively demanding tasks. And that's, really wonderful for everybody who's so busy.
Pull up something here real quick if I can.
Yeah.
No,
You want me to stop sharing?
no, I'll take it if I can find what I'm looking for. Don't know. Maybe it's here, but kind of. Yeah, I'll just take it. Okay, so what I have here, and this is what we're talking about, and it kind of, I just lost the chat. I'm sorry, I apologize. The person who mentioned it about process over the final product. Um, with this program Alpaca that we were using, we were able to have these students and they would be able to kind of sketch out what they wanted and then type out what they were trying to depict and then get these type of results. So I think for certain groups, especially that are underprivileged or underserved, it can be a really good benefit to help reach them, get their creativity. Now, if all of this type software and all of these type of applications were available, I mean, would we have a Da Vinci? Would we have a Dur? If they, it I don't think it's going to replace creativity, but as people value niche or chic art, that's where that danger is. That we're a robot. I mean, even years ago, there was it an elephant or a gorilla would paint, and they were selling for thousands of dollars paintings. Is it the novelty of it? At what point does it, does the human creativity start to come back and overwhelm that niche approach? So we've seen a lot of good things come out of it. As we're on the subject of art, real quick, there was just a short thing that I did on with some of the different programs, just using Leonardo AI, and just a timeline of what type of results I would get using the same exact prompt. Um, okay, passable. Sometimes we just need thumbnails for some of our course content when we're developing our dev shells. Here, better, but the hands are kind of mixed up, the fingers, seeing more
Lee,
issues
are you
here.
showing? Can you share your screen?
Is it not sharing anymore?
I don't see it.
James,
James, do you see it?
I'm able to see the screen.
Okay,
it
he
may be
just
because you're
blocked
on with a
me.
single monitor.
No, you blocked me.
Of course. Um, so, and then in September, it kind of melding, but by January 25, much better, acceptable. And I just took it a step further where we're using prompts for prompting. Take the same prompt, put it into ChatGPT, and say provide all positive and all negative prompts. And we get a much cleaner image that can be used anywhere. Again, it's not photorealistic, or it won't pass as a pure photo. I guess it would be considered photorealistic. So we've had a lot of good success in using it as a tool. But the creative aspect, and are we creating a better artist or are we creating a better prompter? That's pretty much the issue that we're trying to figure out.
And Lee, can you talk about the positive and negative prompts that you have up there? And that's a really key thing for image generation.
Right. Basically the positive prompts is just, you can go through and create your own. I went the way with just having ChatGPT do it for me based on what I gave it. Nurse reading a medical chart at night by a station in the hospital. But it's giving you the information that, just a realistic facial expression. We don't see as many artifacts as we used to, where there's 6 fingers and stuff like that, or you have to put in, no bad geometry, no third arm. But it's telling you here, the negative prompts, stay away from the cartoonish, no cluttered or messy background, no overly bright colors, unrealistic props like old style charts, trying to make it more modern and more dramatic. So if I run it again, I'm going to get a different series of prompts. If I run that all through Leonardo AI, it's going to look different because it usually gives you 4 variations anyway. So we've had some good luck with it. I generated some videos with Sora. They're only 5 seconds long, but when I needed a depiction of AI winter, it gave me a old 1970s computer in a block of ice with a snowstorm, and it was like, great. This is just exactly what I need. It is not broadcast quality. It is not theatrical, but for what I needed for a class, it was perfect. So it is a fine line, but it's always been a fine line. TV is going to replace radio. Movies will replace TV. TV came back in this. It's more of an integration. Yes, this is much more disruptive, but I do think that we will figure out a way to integrate it all together, and it's not the death of education. It's not the death of creativity. I will stop sharing so Laura can see more.
Oh, no, I figured out there was
Oh,
another.
you did. So it wasn't me, it was you. Okay.
No,
I'll catch up on
no.
chat
Did you
here.
want to show your gold discussion, the Ben Franklin one? Could you bring that up?
Yeah,
It's pretty fun.
it's in the middle of a video. Hold on a second here. Let's see. Go back to sharing. Make sure that's
for storytelling. An economics faculty member could create a script for 2 artificial intelligence hosts for a podcast featuring Benjamin Franklin discussing going off the gold standard with Richard Nixon.
Ah, Mr. Nixon, I hear you've untethered your currency from the solid ground of gold. What drove you to such an audacious decision?
Times change, Mr. Franklin. The gold standard was tying our hands, limiting growth. We needed flexibility, a chance to adjust to new global markets.
Flexibility, you say? Without gold, what anchors the dollar? Faith alone is a fickle foundation. Wouldn't you agree?
As Voltaire said and later used in the Spider-Man universe.
okay. So yeah, we've had some fun with creating things, and
great power comes
and screwing up what we're doing there too. Okay. Jody posts about copywriting AI prompts. It wouldn't surprise me.
No, I don't know. I think my feeling on that is that we should all help each other. And I don't know how you could copyright a prompt. I mean, that would be sad, I think, because yeah, it's something that's used to create uh, new information, so or pull information from the web. And that's one of the big things with my students was they actually thought that AI didn't work because they were just using prompts that didn't give any information or context or give the AI enough direction to tell it exactly what to put together for the students. And so being cognizant of that and really teaching them to put in a lot of context. Like I'm a 6th grader that is having trouble with algebra and I don't understand why. And I like to see visual things and I'm having trouble with this particular thing. Can you help me work through some problems? So being very detailed about what you want people or what you want the AI to do and why, who's the audience, things like that, just context around what you're trying to achieve. Yeah. So yeah, if there's any other questions, happy to answer, but it's been really a pleasure to join you and I hope it's been valuable for everyone to hear what we had to say.
Thank you so much. The work that you've been doing has been fantastic, and I think this is a really great resource for people to. So please check all the links in the chat. There's really great information that Laura and Lee, your team, has been providing. So it's It's been an honor, and thank you so much for spending the time. I know you're always very busy and you've done many presentations. And so thank you for spending time with us.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Well,
Thank you for having us.
inviting us. Yeah. Thanks. Have a great rest of the conference.
Thank you.